So do you think Pyrrha's death was handled well?
What was handled?
Wrong character.
I mean, it was... You called it, like, back when she was introduced, so, I mean, it doesn't really surprise me. Plus, that was the one spoiler I accidentally read, was, like, Rip Pyrrha, something, something, something. Like, oh, well.
Yeah, I read that too. It was attached to the channel. That, and I don't know who it is on Steam, but one of the people I have on Steam is just like, Pyrrha didn't deserve this or something like this. And I'm like, well, shit.
Thanks a lot, asshole.
Yeah. I think what happened to Yang was far more handled worsely.
Handled worsely.
Made up words.
Aura is so flippy floppy because there are so many instances where someone should be grievously injured, but they don't, and then Adam just brings his sword out and gets sliced off. And
Well,
it's okay.
Considering what his sword did in the trailer, maybe it was something similar to that.
Yeah.
I can understand that, but at the same time, you can't deny that it's a very obvious ploy to move the story in a certain direction.
Yeah.
Not only to show the difference in power, but also to give Yang some sort of motivation to have a character motivation.
But I think they could have done that just by having Blake. What happened to Blake? Because they specifically said that. Yeah, it seems such a cheap ploy to be like, oh, look how powerful he is. He cut off somebody's arm.
And not only that, it's like, oh no, she can't use her powers anymore. What's she gonna do?
And even then, it's also on a third level. It's, oh no, there's tension in the story now. Things are happening. People are getting hurt. When in reality, it's like, oh, we know that extremely effective cybernetics exist. Obviously, she's gonna get a robotic arm and then beat the shit out of everything with it. That's not even a question. Or she's going to adapt to a one-handed fighting style and still beat the shit out of everything. Either way, as a main character, it's unlikely that she's not gonna. I hope she does. That'd be rad.
Yeah, didn't
She goes robo arm to robo leg against Mercury.
Didn't you have a question about that, Andrew, the other week about how she would get an arm back or something?
Oh, I just really thought what would be the worst and best way, and I think I have 4 or 5 options. The worst or best way Rooster Teeth could handle getting her arm chopped off. A would be obviously the sort of the easy route, which is cybernetic, because they clearly, for God's sakes, what's his name is half cybernetic. B, that she just B, she just doesn't get another arm, and she, like Clint said, she just adapts to being old stumpy. 3 would be what about if they had recovered her arm and via super medical magic, they could reattach it, and she'd have to maybe relearn with it, but basically she'd end up more or less good as new. Or 4, what if they found another of the seasonal ladies and they used super magic to just heal her arm and regenerate it? What would be the best and worst way to go?
Seasonal
That's
ladies.
pretty much the ones.
I think they're going for cybernetics. The maidens, the season.
Yeah, the maidens.
Seasonal ladies.
Seasonal ladies. I think I'm leaning towards cybernetics, since they introduced them with Mercury, and then they have Yang, who is very much, Mercury uses what is essentially a recolored version of Yang's weapons. So I think if they're going to be continuing with those parallels, then it's going to be Robo Arm versus Robo Legs. And it's going to be, oh, you only have one robo arm, you're at a disadvantage, and then she comes out on top because I'm better than you, and,
Honestly, there's just so many, I wouldn't say plot holes or inconsistencies. I understand that humans in general are flawed. Our history is based off mistakes, like human oversight. But at the same time, there were so many points where they should have done something to maybe check on Mercury's legs, pull up his legs, is he okay? Because that's generally what you do when you're a fucking paramedic.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they just, we'll just put him away. We'll bring an ambulance.
Well, wasn't it that van was cinders and?
No, but you mean at the scene, they would at least sort of.
Yeah, at the scene.
Yeah.
No, he looks injured, I guess.
Well,
he's crying.
When Nixie and I had the discussion after the last one, we caught up before this. Nixie and I, and they definitely are trying. You could definitely see in this season that they are trying to develop a plot or advance the plot that you hadn't seen in the first 2 seasons. But I kind of mentioned, I think Nixie agreed. Nixie phrased it a different way, but we both kind of came to the same conclusion that yes, they are clearly getting better, and things are actually to the point like where they should have started at, in the first season. But it's like it's like one step forward, two step backwards.
I agree. Yeah, every decision, every plot pivotal decision that they seem to be making is very shoehorned. It's like they're railroading it very obviously.
Yeah.
And I have no issue with like railroading because that's what you do with a linear story. But like when you make it so obvious and there are so many like instances where it could have been corrected, it just makes it feel very floppy.
Yeah.
Floppy like a wet noodle.
floppy sad pancakes.
What do you... Oh, good. Okay. All right.
What were you gonna say? What were you
Wait.
gonna say?
Fuck, did I... No, I got it. Okay. I was kind of scared to bring this up for certain reasons, but what do you think about the animation? Like, I guess if, like, combat animation.
The combat animation's what it usually is, which is good. And the everything else animation is what it usually is, which is average. I think there were a couple transitions from combat-y animation from regular to combat that weren't very sudden. I remember there's one in the previous episode where it's right when Ironwood is facing off with the Grim. There's this moment where I just thought, okay, yeah, that's where they shifted between what they do for regular animation and their fighting scenes. But on this one, a lot of the transitions were certainly better than what they started with.
I am a writer, so I don't actually appreciate... Like, I appreciate the animation, but I'm not, like, very well versed in it. Like I remember at one point Tiki was like, oh, they were sliding and shit. I absolutely didn't fucking notice any character sliding until someone pointed it out. I'm like, oh, their legs are moving without them moving. But I think that it looks... Yeah, I agree with that. It looks way better than what they started with. But it's definitely not like super duper anime posh Shaft quality.
Well,
I don't expect that of them.
Well, yeah, no, me neither. And I personally think that yes, they have improved, and I would agree that it is better than average for everything else. The combat animations for me, the thing for me is, and this is the reason why I kind of I'm hesitant to say this, is just I feel it's not bad, and I can tell they work really hard for it. I know a lot of effort goes into it, and you can see that, but I feel it's different significantly, and maybe it's just my opinion. Yeah. Like there are just certain things that I feel like are missing, and it's not their fault. It's definitely like I'm not even saying this in a negative way. It's just something I noticed.
It's just different.
Yeah.
Right, I understand. Yeah. I mean that's the thing, because Monty has been doing this specifically, like fight animations and stuff with this rig for so long. He has his own deft touch to it. Like he has his own little trademarks that you'll notice, and I don't think that no one can ever really replicate that. So
they can't, and like I'm not expecting them to. It's just that's one thing that I've noticed, and it stands out to me a lot. It's not something that irks me. It's just something that's consistently been there throughout the entire season for me.
Yeah.
Or not season, volume. Sorry.
I agree with that, Nixie. As far as like what I typed, as far as I think it's better than above average for exactly what you said, Stape, is that in the previous volume seasons is that like I'm not a writer or an animator, but I definitely noticed like the mistakes like that where they were sliding and like the walking up the stairs was particularly terrible, and that's why I would say that everything besides the combat is above the average of the last two seasons, because I feel I haven't noticed really any of those mistakes this volume. You can definitely tell that they have improved.
Yeah. And if those mistakes are there, then they're nowhere near as noticeable as they used to be.
Right.
Because some of those ones in the beginning they were just loud.
They literally just slid up the stairs. There was no hiding that.
Yeah, that's the problem with stairs. No, okay. What got me was in volume 2 when Cinder was running across the rooftops.
I remember that, and I was just like,
My thought was, why do you have a rooftop scene if that's what it's gonna be like?
Yeah, there were definitely some instances where it's just like, how did you guys decide? Like, yeah, we're just gonna have to go and leave this in and not fix it.
I assume it's one of those things where they're like in their minds, they're like, okay, this scene's gonna be great, it's gonna be awesome, we're gonna do this, that, it's gonna help the aesthetics of everything, and then they do it, and it's like, shit.
you mean
disgusting.
basically it's like what every other thing they do.
Just poop it out. Just poop it out.
Like the dragon. Poop it out and leave Grim everywhere.
I know. The moment he started pooping, I was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna shit Grim. This is disgusting." And like it splats, and they come out, and I'm just like, "Oh my god!" It's like
I didn't even like realize it was until I think Andrew was like, is it pooping? And I'm like, is it?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't think it is exactly pooping, but you know, for all intents and purposes, that's pretty much.
Like I was too in awe of like the fact that they included the dragon.
Well, I think it's just supposed to be.
And it propagates.
Maybe, but I think it's more just supposed to be like, this is something unique and special, and like, you know, that's why it was hiding in the mountain or whatever.
Giant issue.
Can we talk about that cliche for a moment?
The what?
At the very top of the summit of the mountain. Can we talk about that cliche, please?
Oh.
Oh, that seems really convenient that the dragon just happens to burst out of the very top of the mountain in such a dramatic way. I honestly would think it'd be cooler if the dragon flew out of a... it'd be difficult to explain, but a dragon flying out of a lower part of the mountain seems like it'd be cooler to me than the very top.
I feel like it was just a bad idea to build any sort of city near a giant mountain.
Yeah, like what?
Linda implied that she knew it was there. Like she's like,
well,
no,
I wouldn't be
it was there. The ground started shaking, and they're like, "Oh no, here it comes!" It's like,
well, I don't think it was that they knew. They were just trying to figure out what it was. I wouldn't be surprised if like Ozpin and some of the like behind the scenes players probably knew, and it wouldn't surprise me. You know, like in a lot of stories, they build, you know, a city or a keep or something like that near or above like where they trapped the, you know, monster, so they can watch over it for the rest of the time. But you know, as time goes by, people, you know, slowly forget that it's there, and it turns into like, you know, just a regular city and stuff like that. But I think that's probably what they were thinking, or they're going to go with, is that, you know, the reason, you know, the training academy for people that take down monsters was so close to this thing is because, you know, in case this creature ever awoke or whatever, you basically have all these people trained to kill the thing, you know, right next to it. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're gonna go with.
About that.
That's a very good explanation.
I do think having Pyrrha shot in the ankle was terrible. Is from, you know, I mean, we all kind of knew she was supposed to be based off of, you know, Achilles and whatnot, but I mean, that's like slapping people in the face right there. Like, I think that was...
I think they threw it in just to be like, yeah, we're making a reference. Here you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
I don't mind so much. It wasn't like it detracted from the scene, but it was like... If I was immersed in that, and I really wasn't because I already knew what was coming, because freaking spoilers, I would have thought like, oh, okay, this reminds me that this is that, like, you know, as people, instead of, you know, poking me in the shoulder very lightly, saying, hey, look at this, but think about it later, they're just punching me in the gut with this reference, and it's distracting me from the show.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a show that people, I mean, I don't know, I guess it's maybe a little bit unfair because I don't watch what other people talk about or say or post about RWBY. All I know is, you know, what our discussion is and what my opinion is, but as Glant was like pointing out 17 times during the episode very loudly, is like the cliches. Sorry. And well, no, I'm using it as an example because I think other people, I would imagine, are pointing out how uberly cliche some of the scenes are, and I feel that was just like them being like, boom, there's your cliche in your face. Like, I think that was, like Glant said, a little too loud. I don't really know how they could have done it differently. And it technically doesn't detract from the overall scene, but I think for me it did a little bit because it was just like so in your face, like yeah, she's Achilles, she's about to die. Like, I think if they would have taken that out, I think it would have been better personally. But
no, I agree, and with what you said with the whole, you don't know how they could have done it better. I felt the same. Like, it was kind of like, it could have been done better, but like how? And then it's kind of like, okay, what's another instance where it's like they decide to do something, but it's like it doesn't really work out the way that they wanted it to.